Many panfish anglers dream of finding a secret backwoods lake loaded with big bluegill. But fish ed host Jon Thelen says the Midwest's most overlooked opportunities actually exist in much larger bodies of water. Let's join Jon and fellow guide Jeff Sundin as they reveal how you, too, can reap this big water bounty.
Oh, that's a better one right there. Yep.
Good one, bud?
Yep, that's a good one.
Oh, look at that.
Another pumpkin seed, better
Holy
size.
smokes.
Oh,
You almost lost that one,
I
didn't you?
almost lost my favorite jig, too.
Look at the size of that thing. Man, that is just an awesome fish. You know, we're doing something a little bit different today. And when you think of bluegills, the first thing that always goes through my mind, and I think it goes through a lot of anglers' minds, is you think about small water. You think about small lakes with weeds sticking up all along the shoreline, something you can go out and you can fish in a 14-foot boat, you know, something really small. But I'll tell you what, one of the greatest hidden secrets there is when it comes to fishing for big bluegills, big pumpkin seeds like this one that Jeff just got, is fishing big water. But there's some tips and tricks that we're going to give you today to help you find fish like this on these big waters. Because let's face it, where we are today, most guys are thinking walleyes. Most guys are thinking pike. In the summertime, they're thinking bass. Very few people come out here and fish bluegills or crappies, and I'll tell you why. It's just big water, and big water is not looked upon as panfish water. Well, let me tell you something, that's a big misnomer, because I'll tell you what, some of the biggest panfish that you're gonna catch all year long could come out of some of the biggest water you fish, the same place where you catch a lot of your walleyes. Man, that's a great fish right there, Jeff.
Yep, I'll take fish like that all day long. That's you know what, that's actually almost too big. I think I'll let that one go, and we're gonna get some smaller ones to eat as we go here.
Boy, this one just hammered it too. Man, it is so cool when you get in to the big bluegills that we're into right now, because I'll tell you what, they just hit hard. And you look at that fish right there. Man, that fish, when he hits hard, and he hits hard for a reason. He's eating. He's used to where he's at. He's comfortable here, and he knows he can eat and eat without any fear. So he's just running around eating. And that kind of leads into, what are you looking for an area to fish in? Well, you know, where does a bluegill grow big like that in big water? And one of the primary things you want to look for, though, is you want to look for areas where that water is really going to warm up in the summertime. You're talking back bays, you're talking corners of the lake, anything where there's indentations, and there's something that goes along with that most of the time. Weeds. And when weeds grow in those areas, it sucks fish like this in there. And most of the time, those are going to be areas like we're in today, 8, 9, 10 feet of water, where these fish can kind of be left alone, because your walleye fishermen aren't back here. Your pike fishermen are very seldom back here. They're just off the edge of the weed line. We're back into the weeds a little bit further. So all said and done, fish like this one right here, he can just live back in this area and he can just grow. He never really ventures out into the middle of the lake where all those walleyes are. So if you find those areas, and most every big body of water's got something like that somewhere. I don't care if you're on Mille Lacs Lake and you're looking at Isle Bay or Walk-On Bay, or if you're looking at any big body of water, you know, be it Winnebagosh or anywhere where there's bluegills. And what bluegills need is the water's got to warm up a little bit. But as long as you have that, you know what? You'll find big bluegills growing there, because very few people fish them. That's a great fish right there. Let's get that guy on the hook then. That fish just ate it. He just ate that thing down. Makes you wonder, you know, if that's the fish I just missed a few minutes ago, Jeff.
It might be.
It's a great fish right there. We'll let that guy go. Oh, he was going to go regardless. He had already decided he was going to find his way back down. There he is, got him. I think that feels like the right kind. Going in circles, you know, when you get them to go in circles. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. And that fish, you can see exactly what we're fishing. He came right, I dropped right down into those weeds, And he was right down in there. And as soon as I set the hook on him, there's what it is. That's what's hanging on. That's what's keeping these fish hanging around. Look at that. That's a dynamite gill right there. Boy, his color is so black. That's a really dark looking fish. But I'll tell you what, these are gold mines. But one of the biggest keys to catching these fish is to understand what they eat, because something is different when you're fishing these big waters like we are here. I mean, when you're talking thousands upon thousands of acres, tens of thousands of acres versus say a couple thousand acres, one of the things that happens is not only can the game fish grow bigger, but there's a lot of different varieties of bait that's available down there, and a lot of it's bigger. So these fish that we're catching today, they've got this option. They can eat so many different things. So one of the things that I really believe in these big water situations is to go with a bigger bait, because here's the thing, they're eating minnows for the most part most of the time. So what I'm using today, this is a brand new Lindy quiver spoon. Now this is the tin spoon that when I drop it, it's got that little bit of flutter to it. It's a little bit lighter weight spoon, great for walleyes, crappies, bluegills like today, whatever it is you're fishing for. It's just a dynamite new spoon. And then Jeff, he's fishing with a frosty jigging spoon, and you know the frosty jigging spoon's been around forever. That's more of a vertical spoon. That's going to move up and down for you. It's going to use its color and flash to get the fish in. But either way, we're fishing big presentations today, and we're doing that because these fish are running around feeding on a whole variety of baits, and a lot of times in big water, it's big baits. Good one.
That looks good.
That one felt like a good one when he hit it. I saw him come through them weeds. Oh yeah, look at this one. Holy smokes. I don't want to lose him. Look at that fish. Wow. That right there is a big bluegill, and I'll tell you what, he got himself tangled up coming up, and he was actually down in the weeds. And what's really neat about these bays that we're fishing in is right on your sonar, you can see the weeds down there. And what happens is these fish, they just cycle through all these weed bed, or this whole weed bed, and they'll move throughout the day. And here's why they'll move. Different species are coming through here nonstop. One minute you'll have bluegills, and sometimes you'll get some crappies just like that one. And then it won't be long later, here'll come some pike through here, because they'll come off of that edge, they'll work their way back into the weeds a little bit, and they'll wander through here. And then right behind them, all of a sudden here'll come some bass and then some small perch. So there's a whole lifeblood that is constantly flowing in here. And one of the things you want to do is just be able to sit on a spot and understand that you're not going to catch fish 100% consistently all day. But what'll happen is these packs of fish will come through, and bluegills like that one right there, he's probably got a couple buddies with him that I'm pretty slow getting back down there on. But I'll tell you what, they're just a ball to catch. And if you just set up and understand that they're just going to cycle throughout the day, you're going to be able to get fish. And they're all in here for one reason. They're all eating. This is where all the food is, right here in this weed bed. That's a great gill. Let's let this guy go, and we'll get back down there. That's a good fish.
There you go.
Oh boy. If that's a gill, this is gonna be a pretty exciting gill, because I'll tell you what, this just feels like a big fish. But you know, you sit here and one of the things, oh yeah, look at that. Wow. Look at that one, Jeff. Wow, look at that fish right there. What a great way to wrap up our day. Hey, I'll tell you what, fish like this one right here, you can find them. They're accessible. You know where they're most accessible? On big water, because they're overlooked and they have a chance to just grow big, because they just run around and eat. There's just such a huge abundance of forage that fish like this can grow big. Next time you're going to go bluegill fishing, pick one of these big waters. Go out and give it a shot. Find some of these spots out here, because I'll tell you what, there's a gold mine waiting for you. Look at that fish.